Hey kids, Miss Torrance again. Okay, so let's talk about some things for this lesson, review lesson. We're going to talk about some things that we talked about yesterday. So in Yellow Feathers, this one here, Manny and his father trained carrier pigeons together, and his father helped him understand birds. So reread page 22, 23, 24. Okay? And then let's talk about how the writer shows Manny's decision making and his feelings at the end of the story. Okay? Go ahead and stop, headphones off, turn and talk to your partner after you have read 22, 23, and 24. Okay, so you notice that Manny starts to think about how the owner of Yellow Feathers might be feeling. He compares it to his own feelings about Whirlwind. Based on his research, Manny advertises for the owner. Do you think he is glad that the girl gets the parrot back? Turn and talk. What are you thinking? And on the last page, the writer shows that Dad finds Manny's baseball. That sort of tells you that everything is back to normal. Okay? So I want you to think about the vocabulary word surrounded. Okay, so look back at your reading from yesterday. The writer of Cher Ami, or Cher Amy, if you just say it in plain, but it's French. Pigeon Hero describes how important carrier pigeons were in World War One, when the soldiers had no other means of communication. So the word surrounded is on page 5. So go ahead and turn to that page. Read the page and think about the meaning of surrounded. Then think about the definition. You can also go ahead and turn and talk, headphones off, stop, headphones off, turn and talk to your partner, okay, about what surrounded means. So the base word for surrounded is round. What does round mean? So think about that. Okay, so then write around. Okay, repeat rounded. So rounded can have at least two meanings. It can mean a figure or a shape that is kind of round, or it can mean how a mathematical meaning of round means. So make a number whole instead of a fraction. Okay, so surrounded has many smaller words in it. Okay, so you can take smaller words, okay, or the root word or the base word from another word to create a meaning for the word. Okay, so think about that. Okay, let's move on to fluency. So look back at your reading from yesterday and think about how your reading sounds. So turn to page 24 of Yellow Feathers. Go ahead and do that now, like I'm doing. Okay, so listen while I read the first paragraph. Dad is talking to Manny, and Dad has a surprise. Notice what I do with my voice, and then we'll talk about it. Well, actually, you'll talk about it with your partner. Okay, so Dad smiled. I guess you helped that parrot find home, he said, just like our pigeons do. And speaking of finding things, look what I found in the car. He took Manny's baseball out of his pocket. Now, let's see how fast Whirlwind really is. We'll take her all the way across the river this time. What do you say? Manny nodded and then headed up to the pigeon loft. Okay? So notice the stress I put on some of those words. Okay? When you put stress on words, you put emphasis and you add voice to your character. Okay? So, for instance, I guess you helped the parrot find a home, he asked, just like our pigeons do. And speaking of finding things, look what I found in the car. Okay? So that's adding stress. It adds voice, okay? So I want you to go ahead and read page 24, adding stress on the things that dad is saying, okay? Kind of like in a conversation that you would have with your parents, okay? So 24, I need y'all to read that, okay? And then come on back. Okay, so now that you're back, we're going to reread with a purpose, okay? So even in your reading passages, you got to apply these skills. You got to reread for a purpose, okay? And our purpose right now is we're going to reread Share My Pigeon Hero starting on page 5, okay? You'll learn in Yellow Feathers, that homing pigeons have a special instinct that guides them home. As you read Sharamai Pigeon Hero, think about whether we can consider Sharamai a hero even though he was probably just doing what his instincts told him. And he couldn't realize the significance of the message. So let's go ahead and tackle that. So page 5. Okay, so I want you to go ahead and read page 5 all the way to the end, which is page 8, okay? And I want you to be thinking about whether we can consider this pigeon a hero, even though he was just doing his job, okay? So after you read, I want you to stop the video, turn and talk to your partner about that, okay? All right, now that you're back, now we're going to write both arguments and give the evidence for each. So on your chart that you will have, you have 2 columns. Sharamai is not a real hero, and Sharamai is a real hero. Okay? So I want you to think of 2 reasons why he is a hero, and then 2 reasons why he is not, okay? And you have to provide text evidence, okay? So don't just, you got to find it, okay? In the book, you got to have proof. You got to have evidence, like a detective, okay? Okay, so now that you've done that, okay, you stopped, you took your headphones off, and you wrote, okay, your arguments. I wanted to go ahead and go over some principles, okay? So right now we're going to study some consonant digraphs, okay? So some consonant digraphs that you may see is PH. We know PH says SH, sh, CH, ch, or, you know, it can say the other sound we study, but I'm not going to say it now because I don't want to confuse anyone. TH, and WH. So these are digraphs, okay? So I'm going to have some words for you, and I want you to sort them, okay? And then after you're done sorting, we're going to go ahead and move on, okay? So the first one is photograph, shampoo, chimney, thought, whistle, shelter, chocolate. So go ahead and put these words in order in the column for their specific digraphs. So sort them, and then come on back once you're done, okay? Alrighty, so the genre focus for the next book, now that you're back, this is your next book. Okay, this informational book tells the reader how to become an urban naturalist. It describes the behaviors naturalists observe and the tools they use to learn about birds and other animals living in the city. Okay, so you'll read a new informational book today, Wildlife in the City. Okay, so I want you to go ahead and look at the back cover, okay? And let's go ahead and quickly, I'm going to read that for you. Professional wildlife detectives. So someone, actually, yeah, let's just look at the back cover. It didn't say the inside back cover, so we'll just look at the back cover. So become an urban naturalist. Anyone can learn to recognize clues left behind by urban wildlife. Sharpen your observation skills and get to know the animals that share your neighborhood. Okay, so what kind of animals would share the neighborhood in a city? Okay, so turn and talk to your partner. All right, welcome back. So the writer of this book, Claire Golding, provides some information on the inside back cover. She says that someone who studies nature, especially animals and plants, is called a naturalist. She names some famous naturalists like Jane Goodall, who studied chimpanzees. Okay, so let's go ahead and read the last paragraph of this book, and I'm also going to read the inside back cover first, actually. So, professional wildlife detective. So, this is what she was talking about when you're a naturalist, okay? So, someone who studies nature, especially animals and plants, is called a naturalist. Some professional naturalists who have become famous for their work include John James Audubon. He studied birds. Jane Goodall studied chimpanzees. Eugene Clark studied sharks, and Diane Fossey studied gorillas, and Farley Mowat studied whales. So many books are available to teach us about these great wildlife detectives and their impressive contributions to natural history. These scientists, and also Mr. Shaw, who told us the story about rescuing orangutans, I think he's a naturalist too, right? I think so. I'm making a connection, text to text, book to book. You know, that's what my brain is doing when I'm reading. But anyways, these scientists all use the same skills of observation, record keeping, notation, and research. The tools needed to find and describe wildlife in the city are the same as those needed to find wildlife anywhere. So whether you live in a big city or a small town, you can have a lot of fun learning to be a naturalist. So you can just be a naturalist in your backyard, right? Okay, so the last paragraph, after I read this paragraph, I want you to make a prediction about what you think you're going to learn about, okay, in this book. So, solve the mystery. Wild animals leave clues all over cities. If you look and listen carefully, you can find signs of animals wherever you live and learn more about the wildlife around you. Look at the photograph of animal tracks below and compare them to those on page 9. Do you identify the prints as belonging to a raccoon? Now you have the basic skills and tools of a wildlife detective. You are on your way to becoming a true naturalist. Who knows, maybe someday you'll turn a hobby into a lifetime career. Oh, awesome. And see, on page 9, they have a little chart to recognize tracks. Okay? That's pretty cool. So, what do you predict you're going to learn about? Turn and talk to your partner, and then come on back. Okay, so it sounds like the writer's purpose is to help readers become naturalists, right? Observers who study wildlife in the city. So turn to page 2 really quickly. Oh, wow. And listen while I read the page. Then let's talk about what you notice about the writing. Mystery in the city. If you've ever lived in a big city, you've probably had this experience. You step outside your apartment building one morning and notice that your trash has been overturned. The bags of trash have been ripped open and garbage is spread all over the sidewalk. Wow. So what do you notice about the writing? Turn and talk to your neighbor. Okay, so what I learned is that I'm thinking the writer's talking directly to me. Okay, he or she is making me think, and they're asking me questions, and they're talking right to me. Okay, So,
It's
and
3 o'clock.
also the writer starts with presenting a mystery, okay? And then he asks a question, okay? So, all right. So look at page 4 and 5. On page 4, you will see a notebook. Read the caption for the picture. What kind of information are recorded? On page 5, there's a chart that will help you. Okay? Each section teaches you what to look for and how to record the information. Be sure to notice the charts and photographs because they will help you solve the mystery. Okay, so I want you, this is a pretty cool book, I want you to go ahead and learn how you can become a naturalist. Okay, so go ahead and read this book start to finish, and then we'll come back and of course we will talk about it. See you later. Bye-bye.